this good? Hello?
Hello.
Excuse me. Testing 1, 2, 1. Myself up. Speaking. Hello.
Good evening.
Josh, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What do you think about stereotypes?
Stereotypes. What do I think about them?
Yeah. Why are you smiling at me? It's not a funny question.
What about them?
What comes to mind when you think about stereotypes?
I think about racist stereotypes and stereotypes of age.
Oh.
And what?
I mean,
I like grips.
I was thinking about like those
Of,
old high school movies where you just see the different tables where you've got like nerds and then like bullies or jocks or whatever on their own tables. That's what would come to my mind. But Josh thinks about racial stereotypes.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Well, basically, we're going to talk about stereotypes. Stereotypes kind of all wrap up, and it's a group of people in which that all share, I would say, similarities, different quirks that they all like can function together. They're a friend group usually, and they all sort of fit in together nicely.
Well, that, or if there's a group of people who have partaken in a certain activity, whatever.
Yes, and
then
they
become known for that,
and deemed acceptable.
And then that would expand to people who are like this are like that.
Yeah. So the reason why I would talk to you about that is because
the reason is this.
We are going to sort of dig a little deeper into sort of human nature and our personalities and what makes us kind of fall into these categories, these groups in which we all find ourselves in. So from there, I would ask, you can talk about like these different activities that put them into different, like, so we'll call them tables, for example. So like you've got like nerd tables, jock tables and stuff. And the reason why they're there is because they may have completed certain tasks. They may be accepted because a certain group approach them first, but I want to know like what the individual thinks at that time. Okay, so we've all seen these like high school movies that the new kid walks in, and they see all of these people. Like what's going through their head right now? If you were in that position, what would go through your head right now?
So the situation is, I'm first year.
Yes.
First day.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk into a room, and I guess...
Well, not really a room. You're the cafeteria.
The cafeteria.
Yeah.
Or the refectory.
You can see all the tables.
Where I sit.
Where do you sit?
I just... I don't know. When I just in first year back when I was in first year, the first day, I think I just like hung about with the first person I talked to. And that's what happened.
And that's been the tale all the way through school. You talk to one person and then you hug them goodbye the last day of school.
Well, you sort of just you can't tend to just know the people who are immediately around you.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do you branch off for the sake of branch off.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes you do that.
Yeah. And it's also like due to an experience in experiencing these different people in your classes and stuff. So like different people react differently to maths, whereas they would react to PE, or English to home economics. People like different things, people dislike different things, and slowly you begin to filter through these people who you see all before you in that cafeteria. You can begin to see, you sort of have an idea of who is who. You go, okay, these people are kind of get together, and I know that they all really like PE, and they just mess about in maths, right? So I know that much. And then you move on to another table, and you're like, these people all love maths and they love English, and they seem a little bit weird and dorky, and it's really fascinating. Like, you just stand there and you just sort of like scan the room, and you're just like, okay, where do I fit in? What do I like? And where could I go? But then you're also like, but what can I do that will not seem awkward? What can I do that people will not judge me in for that different stuff? The kind of queasiness you get in your first day of school. So what's the point of this conversation? Well, the point of this conversation is I want to find out why.
The point is this.
Why that is. Why do we have to subjectify ourselves or objectify ourselves to a certain checklist for people, to a certain tick list where we need to conform to a certain character? We have to be a certain characters to some people in order to fit in and continue through life. I want to know why that is.
Well, yeah, I can say a few things about that. Well, I don't know. What should I say first? Well, let's start from the start. You're walking into the room, right? You scan the room, right? These people do this. These people are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be the reason that people do that, right? And the reason that has a use is because obviously, say in the situation you're first year, you're walking in, right? All this new information here, look at this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like just walking around, there's lights everywhere, like like an airline pilot, right? There's like knobs and switches. Like, what is this? I'm not familiar with this at all, right? Who are these people, right? What are these flashing lights? What does this do, right?
Bells and whistles.
Hope I don't crash this plane, right?
Yes.
So you need to categorize people, right? These are the controls that operate the voiceover for the passengers. These are the controls that steer it, right? These are the braking control. I don't know how to fly a plane. Why am I right? So then, you categorize things to take in, right? You take things in blocks and then you refine it, right? If you're learning a new instrument, right, you don't learn like the fine in between expressions of the instrument first. You learn the big chunks, right? These are the main fundamentals, right? Then so that could be why you would put someone in a category when you're just walking in. Also, if you're coming from the state, right, what person am I? How should I act, right? Well, it's like if you lack confidence, you're like, well, I need to fit in, right? If you had like way too much confidence, right, the world needs to fit around me. Okay, so what's the balance here?
If I may just sort of interrupt there, I really like what you said about like that idea of this being this little kid looking at this refectory, this cafeteria of all these people. I really like the idea that you use the control panel and you're sort of like figuring out where everything is, because like you would say that because it's important, because you've got passengers on board, you've got this idea that, well, it's survival, and that I think that is high school. That is, it's a survival mechanism. If you could at the very beginning, and it's pressure, like if you need to figure this out as quickly as you can, or the plane will crash, or you feel like the plane will crash. And I really like that idea that you like everything's like, okay, don't press that, or the plane will blow up, or press this and maybe like it'll not do anything, so just leave it alone. Like
you press the button, you don't know what happens, you just like you press again just in case like it's something.
Yeah, and it's but like I think the fundamental thing about that is, though, in the background it's because it's important. It's because that there's something you're trying to protect, something you're trying to sort of keep safe, be it passengers. But what would the passengers be inside that sort of first year? What are they trying to keep safe to make sure that their journey is not a bumpy ride and actually relaxing, and their transition into that school is smooth?
So I was thinking about the pilot would be the pilot would be the first year who just snuck on the plane for some reason, is now flying the plane. But then the passengers would be like the persona, right? How you want you want to make the passengers feel like the plane's not going to crash when you're flying it. It's back to this confidence idea, right? If you're going to adopt a stereotype, it's because you haven't built enough character that stands on its own legs, and maybe that's fine if you're a first year, right? Because you're only a first year, you haven't. Because think about when you're first year compared to now, it's like what
massive difference.
What's going on there?
I don't think I liked you in first year.
I don't think I knew who you were in first year.
That's why I didn't like you, Josh.
Josh, he's per the outsider stereotype.
Well,
we don't trust them.
I was in the bottom class and you were like in the top class. Nerd.
Oh, the intellectuals are running this place. I don't like this. They
undermine them. But no, it's
like this Illuminati.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you said, sort of about growing your persona, growing your personality, trying to figure out where you're going to fit in. And I think that's a really good way in describing the passengers. It's like, first of all, where are they going to land? You know, the airport. You know, where are they headed? What kind of people are they? Where do they belong? What kind of person are you, and where do you belong? And I think that's something that every person strives. You know, every single person says that. Like, where do I belong? Where can I fit in? What can I do that can help the people around me, but also myself, where I can get to a comfortable place, a solid place, in order to build my own sort of, I guess, airport maybe for other people, or whatever it is that you want to do, whatever convictions that you have. This idea that you're going to go to a place that is similar to you, that is similar to the people that in your plane, where they belong. And I think that's ultimately how your first year feels, walking into that refectory. It's like, where do I belong? Who are the people that are like me? Because those are the people that I'm going to connect with, you know? But it's about rooting those people out and finding them and pushing those buttons.
How does the first year know who they are?
Exactly. They only know who... This is the thing that I'm trying to say. Is the first year going to be a place, and are they defined then by that stereotype? All right, the people certainly around them looking at that table will say is definitely judging them by that stereotype, and they're definitely saying, oh, he's just like those other boys or other girls or whatever. So what the question I'm asking here is, are you defined by the group of people that you're in, or are you defined by who you think you are?
Well, I guess that would depend on the person. Depends how much character you have. If you have a lot of character, you stand on your own feet. Your presence speaks for itself. If you don't have a lot of character, then the people around you, you sort of embody that, and that would speak for you. If that makes sense.
You become familiar to the people around you. You become a sort of beacon of, actually, they're doing something that, you know, I would do, or they're doing something that maybe I find comfortable.
No, they're probably maybe not even like thinking about it, because if you're in if you're in a completely new situation, you don't have a lot of confidence and you don't have a lot of character, right? And you just want to fit in, right? Some people would probably do stuff that they would never do if they're just by themselves, right? Just for the sake of fitting in.
Okay.
You know, they're not consciously. First year probably isn't thinking consciously. Right, let's look at which person are you? They interview everyone's like, who are you? What are your interests? What do you like? What do you expect? Who are you? What's your name?
Well, I mean, are you
like me?
I would disagree.
This is what I am.
I would disagree because I definitely remember our vice principal at the time in like first year.
It's just because I made
no, we had
English
the learning,
accent.
the learning for life and work and stuff, and it was just like, Ben with the multi-purpose pen. That was me. I mean, he defined me because I had a multi-purpose pen and it rhymed with Ben.
Wow.
That's the kind of like, and he was like, he was like going, right, this is about high school and who you're going to be, and everyone was just like, geez, I'm in like first year, and this is heavy going and all of that, and it really is just sort of shoving you into this pen of just people, and you
judge people by the contents of their pencil case, not their heart.
Apparently that is what he thought at the time, but I'd like to think I've grown then. He doesn't actually. He calls me.
Well, what did he call the person he forgot their pencil case?
An idiot.
Yeah. Right, continue.
You should have just stumped me there. Anyway, so basically, what are we rambling about, Josh? We're rambling about the fact that we go to what's comfortable, we go to what is favorable, and we go to what is attractive. And I think that is ultimately, and we do that in order to discover ourselves, because we want to be what's attractive to us. I think, you know, we want to wake up one day and look in the mirror and like that person. That's sort of what I'm getting at. This idea.
Is that true though? Do
What?
people wake up and think, right, I need to be the kind of person I want to be?
Well, I would say it's good advice to wake up one morning,
Yeah,
get
but-
as close as you possibly can to loving that
Yeah,
person.
but
in the
do people
mirror.
do that?
No, because the
It's
majority of
not-
people are quite.
I don't think that's a natural thing to do.
How so?
Because it's difficult.
Okay.
People don't do things that are difficult. Without immense effort, people don't do things that are difficult. So it wouldn't be natural.
But why is it difficult to?
Why
Why
is it
is it difficult? Why? Yeah. Why is it difficult to
Because it involves death and
What?
burning.
liking the person in the mirror? Why is
Yeah.
that difficult?
Do you know the phoenix idea, right? The way this phoenix, I've mentioned this before in another episode, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I said when this phoenix becomes a big fancy bird, I remember it. Yeah. For the phoenix to get better, it needs to die and be engulfed in flames, but it's sort of reborn and a better bird, right? That's what
Yes.
growth is, right?
It's trials and overcoming them.
Obviously, dying by fire to be reborn doesn't sound like a piece of cake.
Nope.
It sounds very, very painful, actually. And that's what growth is. So why would people grow if it involves being burned up?
I think this is a factor in which, going back to the start, in choosing, or not even choosing, in navigating in some way, instinctually or not, to a place that's comfortable, because I think it's the place of less. I mean, you're going to face trials everywhere, but I think in that moment in time, you're going to navigate your way to the place where you are comfortable, where you don't need to be trialed as harshly as you do in growth. You will be trialed enough in school, but I think at that moment you just don't want to be. You don't want to do the difficult things. You're happy with who you are, but you need to first be in a place where everyone around you is happy with who you are.
Some people aren't happy with who they are. The people they're not happy with people who they're around. They're not happy with who they are to themselves, and they're not happy with how others perceive them.
Well, what do you think those people need?
What do they need?
What do these people who are unhappy with themselves and with the people around them, what do they need to get out of that situation?
They need character.
They need character, and when we've already established that getting character to grow involves doing the hard things.
Involves pain
And
suffering,
engulfed in
and
flames.
fire.
To be tried by fire, to be tried so hardly, because that's as what we've discussed, is to grow. Like they say, what's the saying? Doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This idea that it's bad, but it doesn't kill you. It's just going to make you stronger.
Yeah.
You know. And so we have this idea that we've got these two ends of the spectrum. One end is you're a confident guy or girl, and you're going to make people come to you because you're relatively happy with who you are. All right. And then you've got the other end where you don't like who you are, you're really anxious, and you're comfortable. And I think the majority of people fall into the sort of side, and they're just like, and they navigate towards the people who are confident. So it's sort of this, I guess, I mean, you could maybe pin it down to introvert, extrovert kind of idea. An extrovert is people who get energy from other people around them, whereas an introvert get energy from being isolated and being alone.
Well, if you use the way I explained it, some people not being confident would be conforming to what's already there around you, and being confident is expecting other people to conform around you, so that would marry up quite nicely. So yeah.
So we've established this sort of network. I would call it a network. This idea of this person who is going to join these other people, and then those other people then all sort of conform and behave in a way that they all seem and deem acceptable and attractive to each other. So let's magnify this. Let's go all the way out and let's talk about how society then is formed from these different kinds of groups.
Right.
Because if you think about it, right, so people create society and society creates people. Well, let's talk about the people that created society. It's a group of people who all believe in the same ideologies, ideals, and then they set down a basis, and then that becomes society in that timeline.
I don't think they did set down a basis.
Okay.
I think it was embodied. I don't think it was stated. You know. If you're talking about like in like America, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was stated. This is like,
Yeah,
right, we're
that's what I was
leaving.
thinking.
We're leaving England. This is what we
There's-
stand
and then
for. This is
the Constitution.
This is the Constitution.
Yeah.
We the people. Okay. I think this, right? But if you're talking about society, as in just society as a whole,
Okay.
I don't think people are like, right, right, lads, we're leaving barbarianism. This is what we stand for. We the people believe this. This is our constitution.
I think society is always trying to improve itself. It's always trying to. It's always trying to move forward. This is what we call progress. Progress is it? What's it called?
Progressive.
Progressive.
You've
Yes.
like, you've made me like.
Progressive society. There you go. Like it
I
moves.
was not thinking that.
What are you thinking of?
Progressivism. That's not a word.
Progressivism, I don't think it is. It should be.
Of course, it's not a word.
It should be. But yeah, progressive society, you know, to be more and more progressive, to be moving in a direction that is deemed right. That kind of what's comfortable for everyone. Sort of the way I think about it, in society, and the simplest form of society, if we go right back to that little cafeteria again, the way I think of society is there's a group of people that then slowly grew and engulfed like everyone in that sort of cafeteria, and everybody sort of is that society, that community of people, and then lo and behold, that's the school. The school is sort of that society, because the principal and the teachers all went to school, and they've all grown up now, and then now they're out there, and that's the principles that they've all been had, and then they spread that down to the children below them, and then all these cliques and stuff all grow apart and stuff, but this fundamental is still there. I think society is just a group of people that has expanded to include everyone. But, and this is the big but of society, I find more and more, especially in 2020, where society, they say it's inclusive, but there seems to be a lot of people that are sort of isolated and left out and not talked about enough. This idea that, oh well, you're meant to be inclusive, why is this such and such not happening, or is this such and such not happening, why is there no diversity, why is there no inclusivity or whatever it's called. It's just sort of this, and it's the people nitpicking society saying, well, this has been like this for years and years and years, and so that's what conservatism is. It's to sort of just keep things as they are because they've been good. And then you've got the other side that are saying, oh no, we need to change, we need to progress, we need to make sure that everything is epic and make sure that this is that and this is that, and everybody's getting a say and being epic. It's sort of this idea of everyone in that, we'll say, friend group is communicating with each other and helping each other to grow and to get to a better place, but they're never sort of leaving each other. You know, they're all going through, as you say, that fire together. And I think that's what society ultimately want. They ultimately want everybody to band together, and I think that's why we could sort of call this coronavirus. I definitely think society is definitely telling everyone to band together and to stay indoors and to social distance, to, you know, come together and, you know, help each other and, you know, help the NHS and all.
It sort
that.
of sounds like that, right?
Yes, it sounds like that.
That's what happened. But I think just modern society in general, but like right now, 2020, and the manifestation of the coronavirus, right?
Okay.
Community, man, it's gone down the drain, man. Like,
all right.
Remember I told you, like, ever since just the invention of the car, right, and the mass production of the car, right, it's all been downhill from there. Not technologically speaking, right?
I'm gonna just give you the mic and you can go on this.
It's been marvelous technologically, right?
Okay.
Or even if that's a good thing, right? That's another episode. Hopefully not. Let's not talk about that. But community-wise, right? So you had these people. They knew everyone, right? They knew their neighbor. They talked to their neighbor. They went to work. Their work was whatever distance away. They had to go walk or go by horse, whatever, right? Bam. Mass production, long distance transportation, right? All of a sudden, you don't need to work where you live. You don't need to, your friends can be the other side of the country.
You can go see them.
Yeah, but you don't. There's no community, right?
Mm.
You have a friendship group that are connected, yes, right? But like, how many people know everyone, even just around them? Like, how many people know all their neighbors, or even just like a handful of their neighbors, right? I don't know most of my neighbors, right?
You live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I should know. I should know all my neighbors. I know a good amount of them, but like, there's no community, right? As it's not like people. Right, we need each other. Okay.
Yeah.
We need community, right? We need to look after each other. It's like, right, we'll go to work, make money, it's just like. It's like I used materialism in the episodes prior, as in to think everything exists only in material. But like, what's the other word for like? You can describe materialism. It's like the worship of things. It's like I want more things. Like hedonism, is that it? Hedonism, right?
Okay.
No, is that not like?
That's like doing everything against the Bible and stuff.
No.
That's sort of hedonistic culture.
Oh, am I thinking of? Whatever the word is, right? It's like I need to be happy, so I'll get more stuff, right?
Okay. Yes.
That's grown. Okay.
Yeah, massively.
I'd say since the production of the car, right? Because there's breakdown of community. Okay. And then there's the society doesn't, since society doesn't value community as much, they decided, do you know what? We're just gonna lock down community. We're gonna like, who cares about community? We don't have community. We'll lock it down. Okay, stay inside. Right. Don't go to church.
Protect. And I said it with quotations. Protect the NHS. Protect each other.
Protect the NHS.
We're doing a good thing.
Protect the NHS. Save lives. Right. It's been the mantra. Right.
For the past 7 months.
It's ridiculous, right? Protect the NHS, save lives, right? But why are you here? Just to live? Just so you can get another number of years? Oh, I've scored 90.
Woohoo!
Oh, this idiot.
Points for you.
This sucker over here died at 40. He only got a score of 40. You're like, life is not measured by the number of years
that you have or the experiences that you have.
It's not even measured by the quality of those years, for crying out loud, right? Like the people who've had the most meaningful lives, it's meaningful because of the suffering they endured, okay? And how they overcame that or produced good from that suffering despite the suffering.
Lessons learned by people who have suffered are the lessons in which we are taught today and now. So that we don't need to suffer, I guess.
It's not about suffering is bad and people shouldn't suffer because suffering is bad. We need quality of life and we need longevity of life. That's what meaningfulness is. It's not meaningfulness. It's protect the NHS, save lives. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because since community has been so devalued, it's just like a flick of a switch, right? There's no negotiation, right? We need to save these lives.
Do it. Lockdown. Don't go to work.
Obviously, that's not to say human life is incredibly valuable, right?
Oh yeah, like we're not nowhere we like saying that this has all been bad and there's no point. Of course, there's been a point to it.
Yeah,
but this is an observation of what we're seeing throughout our communities in general.
I think but I do think the cure has been way worse than the disease.
Yeah, I think
and we can even talk about like we can go like deep into the politics of that, but I really don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about what the actual heart of the matter is community, right? I think we need to bring back community.
Yeah, I think because we live in a society where people are just so entitled to what they want. You can get whatever you want. There's a thing called Amazon. You look for it and you're like, I actually want that. You look how much money you got. You're like, I can afford that, and you get it. We are in a society where we're just so entitled. We don't need to work for basically anything. The only thing we work for is we work for the weekend. We work, we get paid, and we go out and we just try and have as much fun as we can. Like that's what I'm seeing, especially people our age. Like it's just that's just the constant. But like they say that that's just what we do at our age, you know. That's just what we do. There's no vision. I think there's no like longing to be better, you know, because everyone are talking about, oh, those were the best years of my life. There's no, like, I don't understand why people have that attitude. I don't understand why people say, oh, yes, there's such thing as nostalgia, and there's such thing of wanting to go back to when time was simple, time was happy. But that is no excuse. I don't think that's any excuse to stop working now, to say, oh, well, I had my time, I can just sort of just wallow in my own self-pity. No, you can strive. You can choose to be better every day by trying to set a goal for yourself and for the people around you. And once you see that, you become a beacon of light. You become this person who seems to have it together, but actually the only reason why they seem to have it together is because they lost it all in the first place. They realize that, and that's why they feel like they have to get everything together, because they want to get better. I have a friend who's a perfect example of that. He had such, like, it was in such a horrible sort of family sort of issue, and he just wanted to escape, and everyone was like, oh, that guy's really sound, he's actually so nice, he's the nicest guy I've ever met. But really, he is broken inside, and the only reason why he seems to be that way is because he knows it. And as soon as you recognize a problem, as soon as you recognize the problem, that's when you can deal with it. And I think hundreds and hundreds of people in today's society seem to think that the problem is not solvable by them, and so they sit back and they just watch, and they just hopefully they hope for that person, they hope for that beacon, so that they can sort of follow in line. This idea of a shepherd in the flock. All the flock are just sitting there minding their business, eating grass. They are waiting for something to happen, but really they have to turn towards something in order to move them along, in order to get from A to B. And I think it's so important that people are just like that. Celebrities, we look to celebrities all the time in our social media. Social media, I think, so you know how you said from the production of the Cars community sort of just went downhill.
Yeah.
I think social media and our phones and the technology that we have today is another massive boom in that.
The nails in the coffin.
Exactly, like it's just whoom, straight into your phone. You can access anywhere you want, anywhere in the world. Like, it's just a little tiny supercomputer in your back pocket where you can communicate your nan who lives in England, like right now. Like, that's insane. It's like so we are entitled more. The more we get, the more we want.
It provides the illusion of community, but it gives nothing of worth. Do you know what I mean? Right, so you've got a bunch of text on a screen. They're your friend, or maybe you think that's your friend, right? Or maybe it's just some random guy you don't know, right? But like, if our minds are organized to organize communities, right? Like relatively small communities, right? When I say small, I mean like 200 people, right? So that number of communities right now would be like you actually know all the people, okay? But if you've got access to thousands and thousands and thousands, there's millions, right, billions of people online, right? And you can just talk to them, right? You don't know them, right? Or maybe you don't even really talk to them, you text them, right? They're even less, it doesn't even have any emotion to it, right? There's no face, there's no emotion, there's words, okay? And there's no context because you're not in a situation with them, really, okay? And that can just, it can turn sour so quickly, right? Just Twitter, for example, everyone just hates each other. It's like, what? Who are we hitting today? This person, screw them. They did this. But do you know them? No, I don't really know them. Nope. I've never met them. I don't know what the values are.
I've never have them over for dinner because they did this one thing and I hate them so much. Then I think we were talking about this some other time. You had these two politicians who were conservative and things, and they invite each other over dinner, and I think that's what you would say. I think what was it?
If I were president, yes, I would invite the other candidate for dinner.
Yeah, but like that is so unheard of.
But that wouldn't happen.
No, time's gone for that. Time's passed.
Yeah, man.
I think that's scary.
I'm just thinking of the 2020 election. Right? Forget about the fraud accusations and the whatever. So we've got just two people. They don't care for each other, man.
No.
You've got Joe Biden. Donald Trump, he's a racist. He hates everybody. He is a bad man. He is bad. Donald Trump said,
don't like him because none of us do.
Oh, look at this Sleepy Joe over here. Like, he doesn't. Look at this. He
mixes his wife up with his sister. Blah 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 blah. Like, there's yes, you can say what you want to people, but it doesn't do anything.
Say, oh, have you heard about his son in Iraq? Okay, well, yeah, and it's pretty shady. I'm not gonna lie, but like, really, man.
Yeah,
really, man. If we're gonna run a country here, right? Can we not like cashier? How are we gonna run the country, man? Donald Trump is a racist. I do not agree with his words.
These have been 4 years of tyranny. What we're saying is, why the heck does it matter? The most important thing is people and community, and that's what we've established, and how that's just gone downhill now. Why did we start this episode with stereotypes? Why did we start this episode?
Because we didn't know where we're gonna go.
No. I think this made full circle really well, because I think in terms of stereotypes and characteristics, we all share in some aspect or another, and we band together with who we agree and who we disagree with. We band together in which we can get to somewhere where people can recognize us and give us value, because I think that's the point. Oh, I said this thing on Twitter or commented or stuff. Oh, look how many likes it got. I am now valued. I am now a respectable person. Look,
I have reached value number 5.
Yeah, it's like you posted a really wise comment, but because you have no friends, you got 3 likes. Nobody cares. But actually, that thing that you sent, one of those likes, you could have maybe saved someone else from that piece of advice. But nobody cares. And that's the thing.
It's like you post something, he's like, oh, I find this really fun and meaningful, right? But then it's like, two likes.
You hear those guys posting about that podcast about all these Christian values? Oh, they're pigs. Why didn't they have any representation on their podcast? Shut up, it's our podcast. Like, it doesn't matter. We're just talking.
It's just so loud.
I don't care. It's just a conversation. We're just people. I think it comes down to we're just people.
I've got the illusion that you're shouting at midnight because it's getting the days are so short now, but it's probably like,
it's like 5. No, as I was saying, we're just people, and we're all trying to get to somewhere that we can better ourselves, and people are now saying the only way you can better yourself is if you're noticed. And I think that's it. If you do something that's noticeable, then you can do. And I think that's been it throughout all of human history. What can I do that can leave my mark in history? Nowadays it's just leaving a snide comment about some politician, and that gets you famous, and now you're feeling really good, but then the week is done and now you have to think something else.
Snidey comments, man,
they're powerful.
They're the undermining of
society.
Yeah, man. Just everything that.
Yeah, like it's gone to the stage where, like, so yes, people make society, and society makes people. Well, what about these people, and what is this future sort of people?
Like when you're talking about the stereotypes, I was thinking, like, remember that thing that I was talking about a while ago about this, like the bullseye thing, right?
Yes,
you've got you order all extrapolates out to chaos, which is the dragon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about you should invite the stranger in, right? But you must leave, right? Treat them with utmost respect, with your head to the ground, but you must leave the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
That sums up how you should. That sums up everything. Everything you would ever want to know. That sums up. To be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you. It sums up everything, man. Can we just
philosophy of Josh?
Can we just like talk about that
for the next? Let's do that. Let's do that. So I think you should make clear.
Anyway,
make clear the bullseye thing. I would say. So.
I was just gonna. I just brought back to. I'm gonna talk about something different though, obviously.
Okay.
So community. Instead, like, how we should strive to act. Just like Abraham. Not. Was it Abraham? Yes. Abraham and Lot, okay?
Yes.
Okay, he had a brain meltdown. Abraham and Lot, right? Invite the stranger in, we heard the ground, but they must leave the next day, right? You've got your community, you've got your order, okay? It's like conservatism is right, but it's also wrong, right? Progressivism is right, but it's also wrong. Well, it's actually left. But it's
left and right.
But it's also... Again, it's right, but it's also left. So we've got both values, right? Both have good points, So what are we going to do about that, right? It's easy, man. Politics is easy.
You just get the good things.
That's a quote
from both.
Don't hold me in that.
Into the quote book.
Don't hold me in that.
Into the quote book.
So you've got your grip, right? Your little stereotype,
yes.
as you put it, your little grip. You're either the sporty kid, or you're
the jock or the nerd.
You're the nerdy kid, man. You're the musical kid, man. Hey, man.
Why are you on an American accent?
Hey, man, I'm a surfer man, dude.
Dude, I'm the only one here.
I'm the skateboarder crew, man. You're cool.
We're Northern Irish, and there's a surfer dude.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to be American, but yes, you hang out with the people who you resonate with like immediately, but that's not the end all be all, right? That's not the end all be all. There might be something new, right?
There's always something new.
Well, there is something new, right?
Yeah.
There's the dragon, and there's right.
The lucky dip.
You should invite the stranger in. You need to. It's like the phoenix, right? Growth involves death and pain, but
yeah,
he's grown at the end of it.
I think though, like
I'm saying, embrace the stranger, and for goodness sake, yes.
That's the sound of a bell ringing in.
Go into foreign lands, and the necessity will drive you. Okay, that's a quote from someone. I don't know. Go into foreign lands, and necessity will drive you. That's the adventure story, right? Foreign lands, right? The foreign lands is the dragon. Okay. Necessity will drive you, right?
It's the treasure.
Yeah, it's the running away from. It's the not dying to the dragon.
Yes,
is the necessity. It's like there's a fire underneath you. Run, or else you'll die. Okay, that's the necessity, right?
Yeah.
But so you need to put yourself in a situation where you're in foreign lands. So you got the necessity, you got the drive, you got the fire underneath you, right? You're running away because there's something that can get you if you stand still. So you got that, right? In foreign lands, but you also need to have the foundation of that stereotype.
Yes,
well, like
your character
could be what you would call a stereotype, right? Maybe not a good idea to embody a stereotype at all times.
Well, yes.
Just as a very starting basis, right? You know, have a lot of character.
Yeah, like I would say,
that's what I'm saying.
Indiana Jones, for example, could only do what Indiana Jones did was because of the character that he was. He was this adventuring, rugged stereotype. I think that is a lesson for people, you know? Yes, the stereotype that you find yourself in, what kind of person you are online or whatever, like, you know, you've got all these different characters or whatever. That's sort of like, yeah, that's just a tiny, tiny piece of who you are. But actually, you're going to get called to different things. You're going to kind of called, your dragon is going to roar. You're going to need to answer that. You're going to need to reach your hand into that lucky dip and pull out either everything or nothing. It's this human experience that we keep talking about, this idea that we're striving to be better. But I think, Josh, in today's society, people are just happy with that very first building block that we keep saying. You know, the stereotypes. I think people are just sort of sitting there and going, well, this is who I am. Well, the only thing I can do to cheer myself up is to just live for the weekend, you know, and then just go right back to the start again. There is no there's no like goal. Yes, people would like
there's no foreign lands.
Yes, because everything's just connected these days. People would like to be richer, people would like to be better, people would love the idea of getting famous for slaying a dragon, but they don't recognize their dragons because they don't see them. They think they're living in this perfect time of peace, and that's why snide comments are just massive, because they're like, everybody's connected, let's just bully someone who I disagree with.
Yeah.
You don't have any certain individuals that would represent a minority in your movie, we're going to bully you for it.
When you pointed there, I was like, I swear, is he going to like find something, another thing in my room to like,
no.
I was like, oh no, what?
But yeah, but do you understand what I mean? It's just this point and click and action. It's bad. It's unhealthy. For starters, and I think that's why fitness, I think, is just like really popular at the minute with their social media, because like people just want to better themselves throughout lockdown and stuff. And I mean that's like a mini dragon, you know. It's like, oh yeah, if I do this and this, the reward is great. There's hard work, but like there's a reward. That is a tiny metaphor to what you could be doing with your life. You know, take the opportunity. If you strive towards to grab something and you miss it, you tried that. You got further than any other person because like you've reached out and you went for the jump. You can either climb back up that ladder and do it again, or you can just go home and say, "Oh, I feel it, I can just go home." But I think here's another question, right? So universities,
Yes.
okay, they're all about opportunity. They're all about reaching out and grabbing and being the best you could possibly be. But yeah, look at the cost. You're £27,000 in debt by the end of it. That isn't even ensuring that you're going to get the career that you want. Like, where's the catch there? That's mad. But I guess that was just a side note, but just coming back to it, and I guess just sort of wrapping this whole thing up. The character that you are, I guess the stereotype, the table that you sat at in your school is a tiny percentage of what you truly are as an individual person. A lot of people are just happy sitting at that table and happy to have friends, which is fine. But as soon as you live there, as soon as you start to build walls around yourself because you feel like this is where you belong, you feel that this is good, you feel that this is all you could ever be, that is when the unwanted feelings come in. That is where you begin to get depressed, you begin to feel lonely, you begin to feel isolated in yourself, and you need to open your door and, as you say, embrace the chaos, embrace the stranger, but be prepared. Like, you don't need to obviously keep it because it will destroy you, because you don't even know what it is. But that's why we need to go and recognize them. That's why we need to go and make friends, and that's why we need to go and push ourselves to a point where we have the experiences and we can teach that to other people, and we can begin to grow as an entire nation, as that table grows. If, as I said, you have that spectrum of the introvert and the extrovert. If we become an extrovert and we become a beacon for people, that entire table can grow together rather than people leaving them on themselves. And that, I think, is a society. Because, as I said, a society is just a mega big table of people. And if we begin to have people begin beacons of light, to be beacons of hope, that entire nation, that entire society can grow and can begin to heal and can begin to lift up and face their dragons together. And I think that's what the government are trying to say with these save lives and stuff, but really the community is being too damaged for that, and we have to sort of start again. We have to look inside ourselves in order to affect the people around us. And I think that is the fundamental value of stereotypes, the fundamental instincts, that it's a building block, but it's only a building block. It's not the entire building.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is getting really a long episode.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Oh!
I thought you'd been looking around, and I thought it's well, this has been a good conversation, but let's keep going.
47 minutes. Right. Thank you so much for listening. I didn't know it was that long.
Like, subscribe, downloads, Spotify.
Accessory to thought.
Yes, Instagram.
We'll hear from you hopefully next episode.
Set yourself in foreign lands. Necessity will drive you. Good night.
Good night.